morning, boys and girls. It is so great that you can be with us this Monday morning. If you were with us yesterday, you'll remember that we spoke about fish. And there are so many different types of fish in the ocean. There's big fish, there's little fish, there's yummy fish, and there's even famous fish like the clownfish in Finding Nemo. We learned that fish swim together in a big group called a school, and they do this to protect themselves and to find food. When fish swim together in a school, they all get bunched up together and they look like a big fish from far. So when hungry predators are swimming near them and they see all these fish swimming together that look like a big fish, they'll swim in the opposite direction for sure, and they won't go and try and hunt them and eat them. Fish depend on each other for protection, and if they want to stay alive, they have to swim together in the school. So if they go out on their own, they may become a target. We learned that sometimes we tend to follow the crowd too, and that is almost like being a fish and swimming in a school of fish together. And this is doing what everyone else is doing. And sometimes that could even be something that is sinful and something that God doesn't want us to do. And that's not really cool, because God doesn't want us to swim with the crowd and do what everyone else is doing. No, He wants us to swim against the flow, and He wants us to stand out and stand up for what is right, even if no one else is doing it. There are so many things that people think are okay that actually aren't okay, and there are sinful things that we do, like cheating in tests, telling lies, or even disobeying our parents. We know that in the Bible, God doesn't want us to do those things. He doesn't want us to cheat. He doesn't want us to tell lies. He wants us to obey our parents. So God wants us to stand up for what is right and go against the flow. This means He doesn't want us to do what everyone else is doing. In our Bible story that we read yesterday, it was about Daniel in the lion's den. I love this Bible story. It's a beautiful story where we see Daniel doing exactly that, going against the flow and not swimming with the crowd and doing what everyone else was doing. Daniel loved God, and he was not afraid to show everyone that he loved God. But Daniel's enemies were very sneaky. They knew that Daniel would not pray to other gods, so they plotted against him. And they went to the king and asked the king to make a new law that they had to pray to another god. Do you think Daniel did this? No, we know that Daniel did not do this, because Daniel knew that God does not want us to pray to other gods. And because he did not do this, because he did not obey the king, he was taken to prison, and then he was thrown into the hungry lion's den. But boys and girls, we know that Daniel wasn't alone in the lion's den. God was with him. God was with him because he was faithful to God, and God was faithful to him. He shut those lions' mouths, and he made sure that they didn't harm him. And as we live our lives and we grow up, we are going to be faced with a similar challenge, boys and girls, where our friends might ask us to do things that we know is not right. And we'll feel as though the current is pulling us like all those little fish that have to swim together. And it will be swimming towards sin. And we know that God doesn't want us to do this. So my prayer for you is that you'll be surrounded by good Christian friends who will not want to pull you towards sin. But even if you aren't surrounded by Christian friends, that you will remember that God stands with you and He is by your side, and He will give you the strength and the courage that it takes to stand up for what is right. I want you to remember that you don't have to follow the crowd, and you don't have to be like those fish who swim together in the school. No, you can swim on your own, and God will protect you, and He will be there for you. The memory verse for the week is found in the book of Psalms. Let's have a look at it together quickly. It is found in Psalm 37 verse 28, and it says, "Depend on the Lord, trust Him, and He will take care of you." Boys and girls, this is such a beautiful verse, because this is exactly what Daniel did in the lion's den. He depended on God and he trusted Him, and God did that. He took care of Daniel and He protected him, and God will do the same for you and for me. So we must remember this verse. Depend on the Lord, Trust him and he will take care of you. Don't forget to tag us in all the challenges that you do this week. We want to see what you are getting up to. We'll see you next week. Have an awesome week, boys and girls.